Hey everybody, it's Jill the Wandering Stamper. We are in slightly chilly Lyons, Colorado right now. We have wandered our way from Key West up to Colorado to spend a couple of months with the kids. We're in this beautiful campground. I will probably have to put some photos on our blog page of the place we're at. We're at a little county campground park in this little tiny town of Lyons. You can literally walk the entire town. It's great. But the campground is surrounded by the St. Vrain River. So there's a little river, more like it's in between a stream and a river. It's very small, but it's a portion of it that goes around the campground. So 3/4 of the campground has a river going around it, and it's got trees in bloom, daffodils everywhere. The water's rushing pretty good because they've gotten a lot of rain, and the mountain snow melt is coming down. So rushing water sounds, beautiful birds, flowers. Oh, it's just lovely. But today we need to get some things done. So we are going to use a brand new suite of products in the new 2024 annual catalog that came out on May 1st. I'm using the Take to the Sky suite, and we're going to make this cute buckle card using the stamps, dies, papers, everything that comes in the suite today. And I wanted to share it with you because it's so cool, it's so fun, and it makes a great masculine card for those, masculine cards we sometimes struggle with because we just don't have a lot of manly things. These stamps work perfectly. They're also great for kids cards. They're great for anybody really, but it's very versatile. It's a lot of fun to work with, and I love the paper. So let's get started. I'm going to turn the camera down and show you how to make this cool card. Thanks for joining me today. Here is the suite of products that are in the catalog. It's on page 37 if you have the catalog. If you don't, let me know and I can surely get a catalog to you as one of my customers. But the catalog, the new annual catalog, is fabulous. I love how it's set up this year because there's a lot of new things. Let me just take a quick moment. The beginning of the catalog gives you essentials, and then it goes into that really simple card making. No stamping unless you want to. They have these mix and match products. We're going to be doing a video soon of where you're just taking you're picking out your cards and envelopes, and then you're picking out the ephemera packs of embellishments that you want to put on them. And then if you want to stamp, you can pick the stamp set out or any stamp set out and add some stamped things. So the beginning of the new catalog, they've never done this before, is for that very basic, simple stamper or that person who wants to just sit and stamp with family and friends without having a lot of products. So these pages are fabulous. And then it rolls into that next step up where you're, adding some more things to it. And then it gets into the more avid stamper who loves the, all the products and has to have everything. So there are some amazing suites in this catalog. So the next part of the catalog is the suites of products. And then afterwards, after the suite of products, you get into the, all of the other stamps and dies and beautiful products, papers, and things that Stampin' Up! Has to offer. What I love about what they've done in this catalog is they've given you QR codes to take you to additional samples and products to see closer. They've also given you lots of card formats. There's one page, and I'm sorry I didn't tag it. I think it's in the beginning. But there's one page in here, right here. You may not be able to see it very well. But they give you probably 24, close to 24 card layouts. So if you just want to make some quick cards, you can look at this and it gives you basically the recipe of what you need to do to lay it out. So this catalog this year is just so great. But let's get back to why we're here. So here is Take to the Sky. It has these amazing airplane themed stamps, the dies, embellishments, and some paper that is just so unique. So it's on page 36 and 37 of the catalog. Let me show you what it is. So here is the Adventurous Sky stamp set. I love the stamp set. I don't know what I've done to my my label's coming sideways, but that's probably all the traveling we've been doing. But it's got some great sayings. There's even a happiest Father's Day in here, so this is great for Father's Day. But I love all these planes. There's some kind of, you can make some great backgrounds with this. Really cool. And then of course it comes with the coordinating dies. Now I've put my dies on magnet sheets because it's easier for me to pull them off. But you've got the dies to create an airplane, which we're going to do today. You've got all three sizes of the clouds. You've got propellers. You've got this little doodad that pulls this banner behind the airplane. And then you've got the dies that will cut out the other airplanes in the stamp set. And I love this because when you color this in with your alcohol markers, it's so cool looking. And you can do a lot of things to embellish this, like by putting vellum here on this propeller. You can give it that kind of whirring look. You die cut the propellers in silver paper, and it's so cool. So I love this stamp set. I've been having a lot of fun playing with it. And then also the paper. Of course, you know how much I love the Stampin' Up! Paper. The Designer Series paper pack is so fabulous. There's 2 sheets of each design, and look at this. This one has tags. You just simply use your paper cutter or your scissors and cut them out. But this has all of these really cool backgrounds, so you can use these in a pinch to create a background. And then you've got all these patterns. So you get 2 sheets of everything. I mean, look at these patterns. They're fabulous. I really love these clouds. So useful if you don't have time to do a lot of stamping. This is sort of a map. I love this map. It's very cool. And then you've got these navy and white airplanes, just kind of pencil images of them. And then look at the backgrounds. I mean, these backgrounds are fabulous. You've got maps, you've got texture. I mean, look at that, a topographical map. You've got some plaid. So you can use this for so many things. So I really love this paper. I actually bought 2 packs of it because I've already almost gone through 1 pack. I knew I was going to love it. So when you buy a suite, you can buy additional packs of the paper. And I tend to do that because I go through all my favorites a lot. Oh, and I didn't show you the embellishments. And I knew I took my, oh, here are the, these are industrial trinkets that come with that suite. I know they may be hard to see, but they're really cool. They're kind of heavy duty, and they're these really cool trinkets, and you just stick a glue dot down and put those on your images. And I'm thinking you could, I'm going to play around with it, but I'm thinking you could put use a hole punch with a hole just the right size. You might be able to push it through almost like a brad. I haven't played with that, but I feel like there's something else we can do with these. But these are very cool, and they look really neat on your cards. So with that said, oh, and by the way, this also coordinates really well with the basic gray and smoky slate pearls. This is not part of the suite, but I've used these on a lot of the cards. So this is a great add-on to that suite. All right, as I mentioned, we're going to make this very simple adventurous sky buckle fold card. Very simple to make, but because of the intricacy of these dies, you can really have fun with it. So let me show you how to make this card. Let me grab my paper cutter and my paper. Getting everything situated. We've been packed up a lot since we've been moving, so I finally got to bring everything out, and I'm still trying to get everything somewhat organized. So you're going to start out with your basic base, and I'm going to look and see if I have a piece of paper already cut. So you're going to start out with an 8.5 by 5.5 base. I'm thinking that's what this is. Yes. All right. So it's 8.5 by 5.5, so a half sheet of paper of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock, a half sheet of that. Then you're going to score it at 4 1/4. All right. And then you're going to cut 2 inches off. So I just do my scoring at 4 1/4, and then I just move this down to the 2-inch mark and cut that off. All right. So now you're going to have a card that only has half of the front, right? And now you have this extra 2-inch piece. So we're going to set that aside, and we're going to take this 2-inch piece. This is going to be the sort of the belt that's going to go on the card, and then we're going to make a buckle for it. So this needs to be 2 by 5.5, and guess what? It's 2 by 5.5. So you're not wasting any paper. So now you're going to score this at 2 3/4 inches, which is the halfway mark. All right, so this is our little buckle that's going to move our mechanism back and forth. All right, so we're going to set that aside. Now you're going to need a buckle, and you can do this in lots and lots of ways. You can use a punch. You could just simply cut out a square if you want. It just needs to be something, you know, that you can attach the things that you're going to put on the front. So you could use a circle, a rectangle, a square, anything you want. You can use a punch. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to grab I'm reaching for some scraps here. I always keep a little pouch of scraps with my paper so that I can use those instead of cutting a fresh sheet of paper. And I tend to hold on to too many scraps, so that's kind of a problem for me. Anybody else have that problem? So I'm going to grab the modern oval punch, and I'm just going to punch out an oval, and that's going to go on my buckle to kind of hold all my stuff in place. All right, it doesn't have to be that big because what I'm doing with it, I don't need it to show. I kind of want it to hide, so I'm making mine kind of small. So decide what you're going to put on the front, and then you can decide how big you need to make that buckle. All right, so we've got that piece. And then the next thing we need to do is we need a piece for the inside, which is where we're going to put our message. So we're going to get a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 paper. And I think I'm going to use smoky slate because it coordinates really well with the designer series paper. So I don't have any scraps, so I'm going to go ahead and cut one. So this is, like I said, going to be 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut the 5 1/4 and 4 inches. So that's going to be our inside. All right. And then we're going to get some designer series paper, and we're going to be cutting 2 pieces at 2 by 5 1/4. Now you can make both pieces the same, or you can make them different. I'm going to use these clouds because I love these clouds so much. I'm going to use the clouds, and I'm going to cut them both the same. You're going to see what I'm going to do here. So 2 by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to cut this. This is 12 by 12 paper, so I'm just going to cut this like 2 inches and then 5 1/4 twice. Now, if you're using 2 different patterns, which you'll see on some of my other samples I did, you can put those 2 pieces of paper together and only have to cut once, because you can cut 2 or 3 layers of designer series paper at one time because it's not that thick. All right, I'm going to set these scraps aside. And that is everything for cutting. So let's put this somewhere it's not going to fall over. All right. So now we've got all of our pieces. And what I wanted to do, as you can see on this sample, I die cut the airplane, and I have clouds that it's sitting on. So that's what I built for my buckle, is the clouds. So what I did before we came on is I just cut a whole bunch. I stamped these clouds in boho blue. By the way, this is Night of Navy. The boho blue matches these clouds perfectly because that's what colors are in that designer series paper. So I cut just a whole bunch of different size clouds, and whatever I don't use I'll put in a little pouch to use for another time. And then I cut the propeller in silver metallic paper. And when you cut the propellers, you get 2. So I just put those in the pouch to use for another project. And then in boho blue and Night of Navy, I cut out my 2 airplane pieces. And they will fit perfectly on top of each other. So that was everything that I die cut ahead of time, because you don't want to watch me die cut. That's like watching paint dry, right? So I try not to do that every single time. All right, where did I put my paper? There we go. So first I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on this because I don't want to stamp after I want to stamp before I put this piece of paper onto our base. So I've got some smoky slate, which is the same color as our cardstock, and I'm going to grab the stamp that has the kind of mechanical texture, rivets, like rivets and metal. I don't know. I guess it's supposed to mimic the side of an airplane. So I'm going to grab a stamp block, and I'm just going to ink this up, and I'm just going to kind of stamp around the corners that I'm going to put on this card, whatever's going to show. So I'm just going to stamp the corners. Keep it simple, and you could stamp all four if you wanted to. I'm just going to stamp the two corners, clean that off a little bit, and then I'm going to put a message on here. Whoop, dropped a piece of paper already. You wouldn't believe how much paper I have on my feet sometimes. So I think we'll do flying by to say hi. So I'm grabbing that stamp, and let me grab my little block. Have my blocks next to me today. That might be too small. My blocks sit on the container that holds my dog food for my dog. That's how we work around here. Okay, I'm going to just stamp that. Hopefully it's straight, because I'm trying not to put my head in the camera. Just going to stamp it right there. That's going to bug me, but it's okay. We're not going to worry about it. Got a little bit of edge there. You know what? That's going to bug me. I'm going to do it again. Okay. So that's that, and then I'm going to grab this again and do these. Let's see. Stamp here and stamp here. Okay, that looks better. That was going to bug me. It's not quite straight, but it's okay. I didn't want to put my head in the camera, so when I do that, I tend to stamp things a little crooked. I'm going to clean this off really quick so it's out of the way. All right, stamping done. So now, the first thing you want to do is take that belt, and we're going to attach that to the middle of our card. So I am going to get my liquid glue. I'm just going to use liquid glue today. You'll laugh. Yesterday, we've only been here for a day or so, but we went from basically sea level to 6,000, I think we're right here, we're at 5,500 feet. And so when I opened my glue, of course, everything liquid in this RV right now spurts out because of the air pressure change or the elevation change, and I had a mess on my hands. All right, so that's glued down. So now that that's glued down, we can put this over, and it's going to hide most of this buckle. You don't really notice it because it's tone on tone. So we'll go ahead and add a little bit more liquid glue. Make sure we're putting it in the right direction, and then we're just going to layer that right on the front. Just like that. So cute. So cute. Okay, so now let me get my bone folder out. I didn't do that. Just want this to be a little crisper. And if it's really stiff, just do the other side too. All right, that looks good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I have these two panels. They fit perfectly. Now, if you had two different designs, like say I was doing, you could do it this way. You could put a panel here and then have your message over there, and there's plenty of room for people to write a message, and do it this way. So you could do it that way. Today, I'm going to put a panel here, and then I'm going to put the other panel right here so that I have the whole thing to write on. So that's what we're doing today. So let me get my liquid glue out again. It's so nice to be able to see spring. I'm actually wearing a t-shirt and a sweater because I'm so cold, and I have my slippers on because my feet were cold. I am not used to chilly weather, and it rained this morning, so Of course, my son thinks it's warm because he lives here. And he's like, Mom, it's 60 degrees. I'm like, 60 degrees? It's cold to me. But I suppose if I lived here all the time, I would be used to the cold as well. It's supposed to be even chillier in a few days. And he said to expect one more snowstorm. So usually by mid-May, he said they usually have a snowstorm, and we're going to be here for a few weeks. So I may have a surprise coming. We'll see. But it is nice to be somewhere where there is spring. There are so many trees flowering. The dogwoods are blooming. The daffodils are going crazy. There's some kind of purple flowers that I've got to figure out what they are. Okay, so these 2 layers are on here. So now we're going to go ahead and work on this piece. So what I like to do is a lot of time I will just lay out. Where is my take your pick tool? This is great for picking pieces up when they don't want to pick up. Of course, I need to get a refill on here. It's almost empty. But I will kind of place this where I think it's going to go. And then I'm going to, because I'm layering clouds, I just want to make sure that that's going to work. That is not working. I've got to get a refill. So I'm going to, I think, put it this way. And then I'm going to layer my clouds on. So I think I'm going to do it that way. So I basically am going to put this where I think I need it, and then I'm going to kind of put my finger where I know I don't want the glue to go past. So I'm only going to glue this portion. And this little buckle just gives you extra space to come over further. And like I said, you can use something way bigger and make that your focal, but I'm kind of wanting a smaller one because I'm going to be layering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue all over this because I know I'm going to cover it. I've got a good amount of glue on there. And I'm just going to layer on my clouds. So I know I'm going to want, and I don't want it to go past the edge of the card, obviously, because we're going to be putting this in an envelope eventually. So I'm going to put a couple of big clouds on here. And I'm just kind of looking to make sure I cover everything that I want to cover. And then I can go ahead. Now you could even use dimensionals and give it some more. I'll put one more big one on here. You can use dimensionals and pop them up, but since I'm going to use dimensionals on the airplane, oh my goodness, I can't pick these up. I'm not going to worry about it. So I think I'm going to do just about like that. And then I'm going to add a little bit more glue here and here because I want to cover that up, and maybe right here. And so now I can take these other clouds. Whoops, that is going off the edge. There we go. Got a little one. And I'm just layering that on just so I cover up everything I wanted to cover up. And it just makes the clouds look nice and puffy. And it gives them they're more random that way. And I feel like that looks better. Now you could even do these with different shades too of blue. So there's my cloud bank. And so now you can't see that buckle at all. All right, so we've got that out, and all my extra pieces will be put away. So now we're going to assemble our plane, and I'm getting my silicone craft sheet out for this because I don't want to make a mess. Now you could cut this out on adhesive sheets when you die cut this so that you don't have to worry about getting glue on all these little pieces. Actually, I didn't need to put glue there, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. So I'm just kind of figuring out, really it's the fuselage and right here that gets glue. So I'm going to pop this on here. And it's nice because you just have to line this up right here. Let me put some glue on that. That's kind of my trick for getting it in the right place, is I pop this piece right here because that's where it goes, and then everything else pretty much falls in place, and you just kind of push it, manipulate it right where it goes. And if you have any glue oozing, just wipe it off. It'll dry clear. So there we go. So there's our main airplane. Look how cute. And it just comes together, and the way the dies are, it puts in all of your lines and kind of decorative marks for you. So it's very easy. Now we have the little propeller also. That's the last thing we had to add. So I'm going to just put a tiny dab of glue on here. My son says I need to use a hole punch and a brad so that it spins, but we're not going to do that on this card. But that is a really cool idea. Gave him credit for it. All right, so there is, and you can just make this go, I think I'm going to make it more tilted. So just make it whatever direction you want it to go. And so then that is going to go on the front here. And I think I'm going to have it sort of going upwards, like it's going up into the air. So I know that I can go ahead and put dimensionals along here. So I'm going to flip that over. This is such an easy card to make. And of course you can use this card fold for so many different stamp sets, but I really love it with this airplane set. So I'm just going to add some of these dimensionals here. And then I'm going to grab some minis and put one on each wheel. And maybe put a couple here, just so it doesn't get mushed. And then for the skinny part, I'm going to take my sticky scissors. These are scissors I only use for sticky things. Cut. And I just cut the edge pieces. So I'm just going to grab a little sticky triangle here. Okay, I'm going to take these off. Love the take your pick tool for this. Did I get them all? I think I got them all. It helps me not have so many of these little Klingons all over the place. All right, so now I'm just going to pop this on the card, and like I said, I want to make it kind of look like it's rising in the air, like that. So then all we have left are some embellishments. So let's go ahead and grab a couple of these. And I have my, all right, I know I put, there it is, my glue dots out. So I'm going to grab some glue dots. I'm going to put a glue dot back here. You just pop a glue dot on these. That's the easiest. I think the easiest. I just put lotion on my hands, so I'm trying not to touch anything. Any sticky sides. All right, where should we put this? I'm going to put it up here. It's kind of cool looking. And maybe two down here. Whoop, well. There we go. Sometimes I can't tell if I got the glue dot on there or not. All right, one more embellishment. I love how it's just kind of industrial this way. It looks cool. All right, close this up. So here is our card. Super simple. The most time-consuming part is putting this buckle together. But like I said, it just depends on how intricate you want it. But let me know what you think. Flying by to say hi, super cute. You could actually put a panel back here too if you had less space to write on, but love this. Let me show you the other samples that I made. So here's the one I showed you earlier, and the only difference is that I used the little pearls, the little metallic pearls on this one, which I really love. But basically it's the same exact card. And then this one, I used the copper clay and then a different paper. And as you can see, I put the panel of Designer Series paper on the side of this one to make it a little different. It says you always lift me up, and then I did a tone-on-tone stamp of the small airplane. So it kind of went with the airplanes over here. And then on this airplane, this one's stamped, and then I used my alcohol markers. I used the copper clay and the smoky slate and did some coloring. And I added some Wink of Stella in this area because that kind of makes it look more like it's a whirring propeller. So I did that, and then I cut the background out of the deckled circles dies. I did one in smoky slate and one in copper clay. And I used that background stamp again to kind of create the design on the back of the card. So I really am happy with that, how that one came out. And then the final one I made super simple. Remember that designer series paper that had all of the images? Well, I cut this image out with my paper cutter. And then all I had to do was stamp my sentiment on the front. It says, "You're the best, plain and simple." Plane. Love it. Love plays on words. And so everything came together perfectly. And I added a piece of cardstock in the same size and put it so the buckle was sandwiched in the middle. So you didn't see the buckle, or the belt, I guess. But it also gave it, since this is designer series paper, it gave it more heftiness. And then I did the inside and left the rest blank to have plenty of room to write. So I wasn't sure how I would send this. So that's how that card is made. I'm super happy with all three of these cards and how they came out. I had a hard time choosing which one I wanted to do a video of because I had so much fun with all of them. But here are the samples. I hope you get a chance to play around with the Adventurous Sky stamp set and the Take to the Sky suite of products. Super cool products. And I think that you can make so many fun cards with it. So let me know what you think of these cards, and if you need to purchase anything or you want to get a hold of this suite, go ahead and click on the link below, which has the link to my online store, and my blog will have all of the cutting instructions and scoring and assembly for you, along with plenty of photos inside and out for you to refer to. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching me, and please make some time to craft today. See you next time.